All right, man, I'm going to talk about a few things here. I'm going to talk about Derrick Henry today doing work. I don't even know what he ended up with. I know he had 137,000 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half. I'm going to talk about Mahomes and Hill. I'm going to talk about those two things towards the end. But check out the NFL playlist. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. And I'm going to start off with Bruce Arians and Tom Brady and not Wentz and Goff. You know, hold your breath for that one if you like those guys. But with Brady and Bruce Arians is an idiot. All right? I mean, just based off that, Jameis Winston should be starting in New Orleans. Jameis Winston wasn't a problem in Tampa. The problem in Tampa was Bruce Arians not knowing how to change his game plan due to his offensive line situation. Their O-line is bad. Bruce Arians want to do 5 steps, 7 steps. He want to do them 5 and 7 step drops. But 1, he don't want to keep nobody in the block. 2, he want to go 5 or 6 wide receivers. He didn't want to come in and do what made Brady comfortable. He didn't want to do what made Jameis comfortable. He's the problem in Tampa Bay, and they should fire him today. He's steady calling 5 and 7 step drops when you don't have enough people to block. How can you send everybody out for a route knowing that Brady don't have the protection? He don't chip with the backs. He don't do nothing. He don't do no max protection or nothing. Bruce Arians is the worst coach in the National Football League now that one of the worst. I can't say he's worse than Adam Gase, but he worse. I mean, I think Adam Gase got more of the presence of mind to max protect a chip or, crack down with one of his receivers to give his quarterback some time. Bruce Arians want to be the greatest show on turf, but the problem is he don't want to run the ball and he don't want to go to the backs out the backfield like they did. And they had a great offensive line. The thing about it is Kurt Warner got the ball out of his hands. They had Mike Martz and them. They had Ricky Probe that run short routes. And they had the backs coming out the backfield, running the wheel routes, the circle routes, the Texas routes, the option routes. Bruce Arians, he don't even use the backs out the backfield like that. If he do, they just swinging or going to the flats. He's an idiot. He didn't say, I'll guarantee you he didn't sit down with Tom Brady and say, hey, what make you comfortable? Oh, doing this short shit and then we can go deep? He's an idiot. Bruce Arians is the worst coach in the National Football League out of the teams that ain't, that's about to fire their coaches. But, I mean, his offense is just, what you're going to get. The deep ball, the deep ball, the deep ball, the deep ball. They can't pick up blitzes. Even though they got a good running back, a good duo with Ronald Jones III and Leonard Fournette, he's not going to continue to hand them the ball, from game to game. He's an idiot. And this ain't no knock on Byron Leftwich, the offensive coordinator. This is Bruce Arians. And then what he do is this. He's a hoe. He's a hoe ass dude, man. Then what he do is he blame Brady and the media. Like, dude, if Tampa was smart, they get rid of him. You know what I'm saying? Bruce Arians is an idiot. He's an idiot. He don't know how to make adjustments. His offense is all. If you throw 10 picks, he gonna still call the same plays they gave you 10 picks. He ain't gonna leave it back to max. He ain't gonna leave it back to protect or to chip or nothing. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers ain't going nowhere. What they DBs and what they stupid ass head coach and that stupid plays he calling. Straight up and down. And that's just the God honest truth, man. And they should fire Bruce Arians and hire McDaniels next year. Or shit, let Tom Brady coach the team. But Bruce Arians is a grade A idiot. And the league need to apologize to Jameis Winston because he wasn't Jameis. Bruce Arians. And then he was throwing Jameis under the bus too. Like, are you serious? And then whoever the general manager is, they need to get some offensive line help. Unless you put Lamar Jackson back there, I mean, you ain't going to have no help. And when people see it, they look at Cleveland when they had Odell before he got injured, Juice Landry and Chubbs, and he a beast. Kareem Hunt. Oh, Cleveland got all these weapons, and look at their defense, Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett. And look, man, if you can't stop the run and get after the passer, which Cleveland can, and offensively, if you can't control the offensive line, if you can't win in the trenches, Baker Mayfield ain't gonna have no chance being 6'0". So it really ain't all on Baker Mayfield. You got an undersized quarterback in Cleveland, and you can't control, and you don't do nothing to control the line of scrimmage. You got to control the line of scrimmage, man, to win in this league. You know, you ain't got to dominate it all the time when you got Mahomes and Kurt Warner and, you know, Lamar Jackson, but you got to be able to control it from time to time. But that is what it is. I'm not going to cook long on that one because I got some choice words for Bruce Arians. But let's get on y'all boy freaking Frack. You know, and this just shows you the racism, the placism in the National Football League. You know, and Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, they can get these big contracts, you know, and then they go out there and stink up the joint. Jared Goff been garbage since after that Super Bowl run. Carson Wentz got the money, even though he hadn't even had played a playoff minute. They gave him the money. And then they bagged him. And said, oh, he's our quarterback. And, you know, and it was a mistake. You got to remember, Russell Wilson had to beg for his money. You know what I'm saying? And all the stuff Donovan McNabb went through and all the stuff, how they did RG3 and they stopped blocking for him down there, you know, in Washington, and how they doing Lamar Jackson. Oh, he ain't good. But then again, who Lamar Jackson throwing to? You look at Carson Wentz, you can make a case that he ain't got the best offensive line and he ain't got the best receivers and whatever the situation may be. But last year you was thinking up the joint. You know, and that's the God honest truth. And with Jared Goff, what's his excuse? Cooper Kupp, I think he might be the best slot receiver in the league. Robert Woods, the truth. You know, Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson, Higgs, my bad. And they got the other receiver, Everett. You got the offensive guru and Sean McVay. You know, you got the defense. They defense single-handedly brought them back today before they lost. But they had no problem making him the highest paid quarterback. No problem making Carson Wentz the highest paid quarterback. He ain't even have to beg. He ain't have to do the Keith Sweat I1. He ain't have to do none of that. He ain't have to do the Avon or nothing. They got their money. And they stinking up the joint. Them, Jimmy Garoppolo, who ain't did shit in this league, but spelled as a backup every now and again. As a starter. You see how the National Football League is? No matter what you play like, if you play just good enough. Look at Blake Bortles. He obviously was the biggest issue with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they lost to the Patriots in the NFC Championship, or the AFC Championship was the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whichever it was, he was the obvious problem. He got paid based off the work that the skill positions in the defense did. Don't make no sense. And neither one of these goof troops deserve to be. Neither one of these deserve to be the highest paid quarterback. Nowhere near. Matt Stafford ain't never had to beg. Matt Ryan ain't had to beg. We're talking about Russell Wilson, where there was rumors about trading him. Because they ain't want to pay him. He might end up on the Bears. You know, he had to get him a deadline. And Seattle missed the deadline. He gave them the benefit of the doubt. This is ludicrous, dude. You know? Ludicrous. And watch Lamar, you know, Deshaun Watson got his money, but he didn't get as much money as them, I think, overall. And it's crazy, man. Them goof troops don't deserve that bag. They trash. And the biggest problem is Jared Goff. And people getting on Lamar Jackson. What about Jared Goff? Lamar ain't got his money yet. He ain't got no Robert Woods, no Cooper Kupp. You can make a case for Carson Wentz. All his line hurt. Receivers you ain't heard of. He made Fogg-Ham. He played for the Lions. Couldn't even make the team. Jeffries don't want to play no more. He depressed and playing. The Riggers guy. You can make a case for Carson Wentz. But he always injured. He always throwing picks. He always fumbling. But then again, what you expect from when you got Doug Peterson, who don't even know how to run north and south. So I can make an excuse for Carson Wentz. You know, Dak Prescott was what I was thinking. I'm glad I'd stay on this topic longer than I need to. Dak Prescott begging for his money, and these two marks got their money. They didn't make the Super Bowl in Los Angeles because of Jared Goff. They ain't been shit since Todd Gurley fell off, and that's the reason why. Like Ryan Tannehill, you know, you see it's still King Henry the reason he able to still be a starting quarterback. Let's talk about Derrick Henry today. Let's talk about the truth. And we ain't talking no Gucci Man Jeezy. Derrick Henry is the absolute truth. I apologize to him. I thought Cook was the best back in the league, but Derrick Henry his feet be moving, for a big fella like a UConn. Remember 360, we riding spinners, 360 Mafia riding spinners, they don't stop. I know it's three spins and Dalvin, whatever they call them, Alvin's, whatever, but Derrick Henry is the absolute truth. And it's a team who's got one of the top defenses, top front sevens. They went over there and got DeForest Buckner, Darius Leonard from 49ers. Darius Leonard, one of the best linebackers in the game. He could do everything, cover, rush, plug the hole. Xavier Rhodes, that he did good since he left Minnesota. And they got one of the best. A.J. Brown did his thing. People forget he better than DK Metcalf. People forget that. He went to the Ole Miss too. But Henry is the deal. Henry should be the fucking MVP. Just based off what he did last year in the playoffs, he deserved that recognition. He had a little slow start this year since, I guess, Taylor Lewan got injured. But he ran over one of the best defense today. Not only do he got speed, power for a big fella, he get his pad level down. He can fucking run. He can run. And I think people need to recognize how good he is. Because Henry can play in any era. Ronnie Lott, I think Ronnie Lott, it wasn't him, it was somebody else, but Ronnie Lott can hit. Bob Sanders, even though he didn't last long, I think he was the defensive MVP and defensive player, he can hit. So, Sean Taylor wouldn't want to get in front of this train. You got to stop him before he get going. And look at 54. He really don't want to make that business decision. I don't blame him. But King Henry is the truth. And people we need to stop disrespecting him. We need to stop disrespecting him. He the truth. For sure. And when you look at the strength, the leg strength, he the truth, man. He can catch the ball, too. They need to start featuring him out the backfield catching the ball, but that is what it is. But let's move on. Talk about the dynamic duel of Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes, boy. Now, I forget, some dude got the record over Calvin Johnson. He had 327, flipped something. So whatever this dude named, he had the most receiving yards in the game, over 330 yards. I think Calvin Johnson was second, 329 yards in the game. Okay? And I thought Tyreek Hill was going to break that record, but, when I looked at the record, it was in the 300s. And he had 200 and some yards today. And him and Mahomes is just a deadly duel. You could just say he was a track star at one point, a positionless player. But one thing about him, for sure, Tyreek Hill learned how to run routes. He learned how to run them option routes, or how to really know what the quarterback want, how to get hot when he's a high receiver. He know how to pinpoint the ball. He know how to run that comeback route. He know how to run the short intermediate routes. He can run the slant, the drag, the shallow cross, the crossing route. And now that he's a complete receiver, it ain't take him until he got old for the game to slow down and him to learn when his speed went down how to be a receiver. He learned to be a receiver, while he still at his peak with his speed. And then you got to worry about Kelsey. You got to worry about Clyde Edwards-Helaire catching and running. Le'Veon Bell looking good again. And then you got Harmon. You got Sammy Watkins, who was supposed to be one of the greatest receivers of all time coming out of Clemson. Always injured, but he know how to play the slot and how to make himself available. Robinson, Hartman, Kelsey. And then you got not LaShawn McCoy. You got Le'Veon, and they got the other dude, Williams, not the Williams that won the Super Bowl last year, the main running back, but they just a complete squad, and then their defense is good under Steve Spagnuolo. They might end up getting some records that if Randall Cunningham was younger, he would have got with Randy Moss, and obviously Tom Brady got with Randy Moss. They might end up breaking some of their records, man. He ain't the biggest, but that's good. When you got them big, long, tall receivers, they don't last long because they take a lot of hits. So check out our NFL playlist. Let me know how you thought the video was and what you think about the topics. Don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out if you have a business question, inquiry, response to your video request. All the social media links in the description. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Best way to donate, share the video, hit that subscribe button, but Cash App CJ Good 313. That's in the description.